Hi, today I'm going to make one of these. Not a human hand. That'd be kind of cool. No, I'm going to make one of these titanium rings. Story behind this is when the wife and I got married, we got up to the Friday before the wedding and realized we had done a lot of things, but we hadn't gone ring shopping. So I came out into the garage and I carved out a titanium ring for both of us with my little Sherline mill and a carbide bit. What I learned rapidly, not quite rapidly, after I had a nice little pile of titanium chips on my workbench next to my Sherline mill, I discovered that if you cut titanium at high speed without coolant, you're basically risking explosion. Titanium burns like magnesium. It's kind of fun, unless it's right in your face, and then it blinds you, and then it threatens to start your garage on fire. Luckily, I had a fire extinguisher right here, but didn't make any difference because it was, by the time I grabbed the extinguisher, it was out. I mean, it hadn't set anything on fire, but it burns with a very hot, bright flame. Anyway, we had the rings, and you know, similar to the stories of people who get married with cigar band rings, these were just two rings out of titanium. They may as well have been washers, mechanical washers that we got married with. Well, fast forward now a couple of years, many years, things changed. I actually lost a bit of weight, and my wedding ring fell off one day while I was opening up a box that I had ordered from Amazon. It was filled with different peanuts and things like that, and my wedding ring came off in the peanuts. Wife didn't quite like the fact that I lost the wedding ring. Not sure she believed the whole peanut story, but it was true. Actually, much later, I discovered the ring with a metal detector and got it back. But still, what happened was, because I had lost weight, the ring fell off and wouldn't stay on anymore. It was probably about a size 8. I had when I made the rings out of on the Sherline, I didn't spend any time measuring them. I just took some example rings and quickly cut them. I suddenly found myself in need of another ring. So what did I do? I actually got the piece of the original bar of titanium. That's all that's left of it, and it's about an inch in diameter. And right now I probably only have, what's that, 3/4 of an inch, 5/8 left. And I machined on my lathe that ring so that I have one that fits me now. And let me bring it close up here, see if it can focus on that guy. So what do we see here with the ring? Oh, it's, you know, roughly ring shaped. I mean, there's no sharp edges on it because I wear it all the time. I bevel the insides. I put 2 lines in it, but you know, it's a piece of titanium, so it scratches. But there's some, let's say, storybook romantic aspect to it that I made it in my garage. Titanium chips burst into flames. You know, it's kind of like a Viking wedding sort of thing. Things burning. All it was missing is the screams of the victims, I suppose. So, as it turned out, some other members of my family, my children, like the rings, and they sort of want me to make these things for them. So now I'm kind of in the business of, you know, here it is before the holidays. Hey, and maybe I'll make some of these titanium washers for my kids out of a piece of titanium bar. Now, I seem to remember I bought this from some online metal dealer, and this was probably 3 inches long when I got it, and it probably cost 40 bucks. I mean, this stuff ain't cheap. Over the years, I really haven't bought any more. I went shopping and I found this. So I bought this online. This is a piece of 6Al4V-EL titanium. A bar that big, so what, 6 inches, 7 inches long, ran me about $112 in the year 2014, where we are today. So 112 bucks for this delivered. Now, this EL grade titanium, I understand, is better for jewelry. I don't exactly know why, but if you look up a place I got it from, sent an entire chemical decomposition here. I could look at, you know, for my $112, I've got pages and pages and pages of documentation on this bar to prove that it actually is titanium. I guess, you know, you might go buy something on eBay and some unsuspecting or unscrupulous seller may sell you a piece of light aluminum or something that you think is titanium, but it's not. I don't know. All I can tell you is this thing came with 14 pages of documentation and government certifications and mechanical and research testing certifying that this is what it's supposed to be. Now the question is, can I make a ring like this out of a bar like this? Well, I did it 3 or 4 times already, so I know I can do it. The problem is, every time I make one of these things, I forget how I made it. I suppose I could keep a notebook, but even that, you know, wouldn't help. So maybe if I video it, next time somebody asks me, I'll make another one like this. So what I'm going to start out with is, I'm going to do something I did not do last time. Last time, when I made this ring, I just put a carbide bit into the lathe and just started cutting until it looked like this. You know, they say, how do sculptors make, you know, well, you want to make a statue of George Washington, you carve away everything that doesn't look like George Washington. I have no artistic ability whatsoever. I can't draw, I can't sculpt, I can play piano, but that's about it. So music, cool, but making things, nah, not so much. That's kind of why I like machinery, because I can use math, and I'm pretty good at math. So if I can use math and if I can measure things, cool. But if it takes some kind of artistic talent, like a ring, or, you know, this is jewelry, this doesn't have to function in any machine. So somehow I want to make one of these out of one of these, and maybe if I videotape it, we can see what kind of lousy machine practices I have, but you also see how I can actually make it work. So here we go. So one of the things I learned about machining titanium, as I mentioned, is it bursts into flames. Titanium is very brittle, but it's also, I mean, you can't tell from this rod. I have a bicycle made of titanium, but it's very flexible. So when you take a cut on it, if your cutting insert isn't sharp or whatever, it tends to flex and you don't get the right dimensions, and, you know, that's probably one reason why making a ring isn't such a hard thing. But if you were going to make a you know, aerospace part, you'd need some way to hold the tolerances better. Another thing that I learned is you got to use coolant. So I'm going to use coolant, which makes a major mess. I do not have a sump on this lathe, so it just sort of spills out into the chip pan. But I'll show you the coolant system. I actually have a different video where I describe that. But what I've made here is something I saw on Tom Lipton's YouTube channel. And Tom, if you don't know, oxtoolco.com. He is a master machinist. You know, 40 some odd years or 30 some odd years of machining, and he's sharing his talents along with his time with all of us. So he showed a soda bottle coolant system that he genned up, and I did my best to reverse engineer what he did. Here I have my Coke bottle coolant system with some, actually I got to probably put a little bit more in there. This is just the water soluble oil that you use for coolant, and I made this brass fitting. I've got two 1/4 inch, or let's say quarter pipe fit nozzles here, and then there's a one on the other side, and there's also one coming at the bottom. So what this does is air supply comes in here through the regulator. The air then pumps up the tank. This is an air hose that comes out. It's just simply open. Between here and here it's open. And maybe you can see there's a pipe going up the middle here. Again, I have a previous video where I describe how this works. But this pipe goes up the center, and there's a channel in the middle that's independent of the air channel. And the liquid can flow through here and into this here. This is just a cool mist porta-cool thing. Now what I've done is I've put a needle valve on there, and then allows me to control how much liquid I get, and then the air flows in through here. So I've got air in one channel, the liquid in the other, and then through a series of trial and error, I figure out how to get the right amount of mist and coolant. I can, with this particular setup, I can go from flood cooling to pure air if I want, and just by manipulating these knobs. It's not what the manufacturer intended, but it works. Okay, so that's the coolant system. I will pressurize that and we'll do a little cutting. So Good Old Machinery's handbook here says for various compositions of titanium, you want to cut it at between 20 and 40 surface feet per minute. This particular rod is an inch in diameter. You do the math, you get somewhere around 115 RPM. Of course, that's for cutting the outside. As we go closer inward, we want to spin it faster. But you know, these things tend to be sort of rules of thumb. The other thing to mention is I'm a rank amateur at this. I have a real job where I do things I'm actually good at. So I may be making all sorts of mistakes here. But again, we're not trying to create a part for that needs to meet any tolerances. We're trying to make one of these basically washers that you can wear. All right, so let's see. I've got the lathe spinning at that's 220 RPM that I got now. I'm using a carbide bit, not high-speed steel. You know, generally the carbide speeds are faster. I'm not going to turn the coolant on, although why don't I just get that ready, pressurize it. So now I have air alone, and I want to put a little, I want to face this. I want to put a hole in the end so I can hold it with a live center, because this stuff is pretty flexible. So, and so let's see. Even though I'm not sticking out very far, when I try to grind this ring or cut this ring, I'll be out further. Let's see what happens here. Square. It's better. just try to get this green stuff off, just this little surface cut. Just to make just to get a nice finish on there. And these things, this is what I'm talking about. And you know, if this was stainless, you wouldn't worry about it. But this is gonna ignite if it gets too hot. Okay, for demonstration purposes, so those are the chips that just came off of that cut I made. Just so you can see, let's see if I can do this without blowing these things away. I've got my matte gas torch here. Let's see what happens. Anyway, not as spectacular as I had hoped, but you get the impression that these things will they'll go right up in your face. So if you don't pay attention to the coolant and you're using a carbide bit and speed too high, you can easily attain those temperatures, and that thing will just go up in your face. Now the good thing is it doesn't want to keep burning. I have no fuel here on the floor. It's just a concrete floor. But if it's in your chip pan and there's a bunch of them together and they're all bunched up, it will go for quite a while. So the next thing I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try something different than I did last time. If you were to ask me, how the heck did you get this shape? And let's see if we can focus in on that. If I stop moving, maybe it'll focus. There we go. All right, so you can see it's got a crown on it, and then I put 2 lines in there for appearance's sake. You know, this guy is a good year old now, and it's a piece of titanium, so it gets scratched up, but it's also very light and it's cool, and you can tell people you made it yourself. But if you were to ask me, how did you get it that shape, I don't remember. A lot of sanding it down, or not sanding it down, or taking the emery cloth while it was still attached to the bar in the lathe, and smoothing it, and then using some Scotch-Brite on it, and I think I used the deburring wheel on the grinder a bit, and after some period of hours or days, or however long it took, I got it to that shape. I'm going to try something different this time. So what I'm going to do is I've got this high-speed steel cobalt blank, and I'm going to try to grind into it shape, like that. I'm going to try to grind it to match the outer diameter of the ring I'm wearing. Let's see if I can get the rings to come out that way to start out with. And then the other thing I'm going to do is I've got another bit that I've made that'll smooth these edges over. We'll roll the edges over nicely. The titanium cuts well with this high-speed steel, as long as you keep it within the parameters of the book, the machinery handbook. You can cut it quite nicely without burning yourself up. Keep going. So just trying to get it to match up to the ring. I'm trying to keep the clearance in there. And all I'm doing is just trying to grind it on the edge. And let's see. Cinematography, not so great. There we go. So just trying to get that to line up. Oh boy. I need a cameraman. let's try to get put a background up there. It's hard to see. Maybe, yeah. All right, so I'm going to try that, and we'll see what we get. Chatter, let's see. This is thing. We're going to move this in because there's too much sticking out and there's too much wobbling. That is what you call not a sharp drill bit. Alright, let's try something else. That's not looking good right away. I think that's another not so great drill bit. Well, the moral of the story is use a sharp drill bit. Those other ones were kind of generic Chinese bits out of a index set. I've been using them for years. They cut other metals just fine, but for some reason they don't like this titanium very much. And of course the last thing you want is a drill bit that's going to create heat and have these things go up in your face. This here is a TIN coated cobalt bit that I use when I'm threading, and as you can see, it cuts pretty nicely. Let's see how hot that is. That's actually not even hot. Good. And I think if we do the poor man's version of a depth gauge here, do this in a way that we can actually do it. I realize this is not straight, but it says, that says I'm 4/10, so if I was straight I'd probably be, and this is, yeah, so I'm in far enough. My own ring here that I'm wearing is 2/10 of an inch. So we got plenty of room here to play with. Main thing is I just want meat. I just want to be able to cut through this, leave enough metal on it so I can play with it and make some cool pattern. All right, let me get a bigger bit. Eventually we're just going to wind up boring this, but for while I've got bits that are approximate in size, I'm going to use them. So there's some air. Yeah, I can actually demo the cooling system. So there's just pure air, and if I open that, pure liquid, and then I can get some combination spray if I want to do this. And the bigger the bits, the more I need to really use the coolant. killing a whale or... Yeah, this is heating up. You can see the steam coming out. I need a sharper bit. This is just grinding. And all that steam is heat. Heat and shatter. Okay, let's get a better bit. And let's turn this so that I got a groove to put the coolant down. I don't want the coolant just splashing back, so alright, here we go. Sharpness is everything. Well, doing like that. Stuck in there. Let's make sure we got this thing tight. This thing will grab like brass. I wonder if I should make it go a little faster. I don't know. I'm liking the way it's looking okay now, actually. Place where you guys can see. Groove to shoot some coolant into. All right. That doesn't sound too good. Plan B. So the titanium just eats up these drill bits right on the corners. I wonder if it would, I'm not sure it would do better if I, went for an even larger drill bit, if I had not gone for the larger drill bit earlier on. But as you can see, I mean, this is not exactly your highest quality bit. I got these things on sale, but you can see I'm going to have to resharpen this guy. Got gouges there and gouges there, and if we go back and look at the hole itself, not so bad. The finish isn't bad, but it's just been scraping, it hasn't been cutting. Alright, so maybe we'll switch to the boring bar. I'm going to try to use this little boring bar here. What I did is put it in upside down, and I'm shaving off the back side of this hole. I can see it better than if I do it on the front side. And I'm only taking off really little bits, and I'm doing it manually at the moment. So I'm not going to use the coolant because that gets in the way. It's not so bad. Let's see, get a rough estimate of where we are. I got a long way to go. The interior here, I got 64653. That's not so bad. I gotta get all the rough edges out of it. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. That's 697.7. I think I'm going to stop there. I'm at 698, and if I smooth this out, I think I'll be at a 7.5 ring size just fine. Alright, that way. This, and I'm going to reverse this bit, put it on this way so I can all of these discount parts are discount for a reason. I mean, and I'm not, I buy a lot of stuff from these guys and I'm not going to name them, and I love them dearly, but they're discount for a perfectly good reason, and when you can't use the standard hex, see, that works just fine, but this one clearly has not the same size. Even having trouble getting in there with this one. This is a brand new tool holder, which is also probably part of the problem, right? Let's get that on there like that. And what I want to try to do is break that edge in the interior there. Kind of smooth that around. I'm using this bit with this profile, this tool with this profile.